Okay, ready?
Still got about 30. It ain't quite 6.
Yeah, I got 5:59 still. And
Okay,
running
6.
time.
6 o'clock now.
It's now.
This meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Please stay seated for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. We are being broadcast live on YouTube, and we will be rebroadcast on Van Buren's channel 12. Clerk Wright, could you please call the roll, noting Mr. Boynton is excused, he will be late.
Okay, no net. We know that. So Trustee Miller,
Here.
Trustee Martin,
Here in Van Buren Township.
Trustee Frazier,
Here in beautiful Van Buren Township.
Clerk Wright is here in Van Buren Township. Treasurer Bud,
Here in Van Buren Township.
Supervisor McNamara.
Here in Van Buren Township.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The executive summary is that we have our usual meeting minutes, closed session minutes, board meeting minutes, and our prepaid list, which is paying our bills, like our water bills and our electric and whatever. We also have on our consent agenda our 2022 schedule for the Board of Trustees. Unfinished business today, we will be discussing whether or not we're going to be coming back into in-person meetings soon. And the next item is new business. It's a kind of a big day because the number one thing that a board does is approve a budget. We have 3 of those line items today for 2021 amending and 2021 approving of our general fund budget, and then another one for our water and sewer budget. And the last one is approves what's called our special revenue fund budgets. These are groups that run independently on their own, like DDA, Downtown Development Authority, the LDFA, the landfill, the Belleville Area Museum, the 9/11 Fund, the Service Fund, the Federal Forfeiture Fund, the State Forfeiture Fund, our Long-Term Debt Fund, and our Capital Improvement Fund. We'll also be discussing a special land use request for a related site by General Development Corporation. And we'll be having a discussion on the personal service agreement between the Van Buren Township and Lawrence Luckett. He will be, in theory, our new Director of Public Services if the board approves him. Moving on, we are down to adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So
Mr.
moved.
Chair,
Treasurer Bud?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Support.
Okay, I got a motion. I have support. Hearing any discussion? Clerk Wright, could you please call the roll? Bud Miller.
Yes. Who made that motion? I'm sorry.
Bud Miller. Bud and Miller.
Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Borden is excused. Yes for me. Supervisor,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Our next item is adoption of the consent agenda, and today I'll be calling Trustee Sherry Frazier. Could you please call off the adoption? Make the motion.
I make the motion, we accept the consent agenda as follows: the work study meeting minutes of October 18th, 2021, the closed session meeting minutes of October 18th, 2021, the board meeting minutes of October 19th, 2021, the prepaid list of October 21st, 2021, October 28th, 2021, and the voucher list of November 2nd, 2021, and approval of the 2022 Board of Trustees meeting schedule.
And as it is a consent agenda, put on the agenda because everybody consents to it. I'm hearing no discussion, so Clerk Wright, could you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
Trustee Borden is excused for now. Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. We have a few announcements, but I'm going to start by embarrassing our narrator. What was that? Okay. Thank you. Ryan Nichols is our moderator. Ryan Nichols is an incredibly creative talent that we picked up here a few years ago, and he absolutely changed the way people view Van Buren Township. His creativity, his videography skills are just off the hook great. Unfortunately, other people have noticed it, and he is taking another position that, quite frankly, I'm jealous that he got it. It's a great spot for him. And I wanted to make sure that everybody out there in Van Buren knew what a great person Ryan was. He does all our video, our production work. It's just great. So, thank you, Ryan. Yes.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you all.
All right. I have a few announcements. Then Leanne also has some announcements. Although I cannot make political comment on this, I'm going to tell the people of Van Buren Township that their senators are going to be making a determination on short-term rentals. That would be like Vibo. What are short-term rentals called? The big one. You rent a house somewhere for a night. Anybody?
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this item that the senators will be voting on will allow up to 30% of our residents to turn their homes into Airbnbs and rent them out at any time or any way they so wish. They will not have any whatsoever oversight by the township. And being that we are a lake community, that means anybody on the lake wants to rent out their place, they can start renting it out. If you don't like that, you can contact your senator and let them know quickly, because we've been fighting it all along, but on the other side is, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just going to say this appears to be going through. So if you don't like the idea of everybody on your street being able to turn their place into a rental, you might want to make that phone call. If you do like it, make the phone call the other way. There, I'm being open on both sides. Okay, I have a letter from Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, otherwise known as FERC, and it's a result of our 2021 annual dam safety inspection, which is a follow-up letter. The dam safety inspection on the French Landing hydroelectric project was conducted on October 19th of 2021. Being there was Van Buren, Eagle Creek, the Michigan Department of Environmental, Eagles, and the Dam Safety Division. All project structures were inspected and no dam safety deficiencies requiring immediate action were observed. Just want everybody to know that we do inspect that dam. It passes muster. I also want to make warning that the yard waste is going to be ending at the end of this month. It'll be the 26th or 27th. It's Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving week is the last day to get your yard waste out.
November 22nd.
November 22nd is a Monday, and it goes 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I called because I wanted to find out. And
The week of November 22nd.
correct. Yes. And that's the week of Thanksgiving. And so people like me who take their garbage out on Thursday will take their garbage out on Friday, and it will be taken. But that's it. All right. And then let's see. I'm not sure. Okay. And this is a letter, an email I got, which I'm reading because I want to respond quickly to it. I'm not sure if you are the one to speak to or not. However, last night I took my kids trick-or-treating in Haggerty Sub. Those sidewalks are not safe at all. My son took a very hard fall. He caught himself with his hand and quite possibly injured it pretty good. Something needs to be done. Some of those sidewalks are like walking up steps. We have had a large turnover in Van Buren Township. The board has actively said we are going to do something about that. We were hoping that program would start in the fall. We are going to have to back it up. We are still coming there, Haggerty Sub. So if you're talking about doing your sidewalk, which I understand there's been quite a few cement trucks going through Haggerty Sub this summer. We are coming next summer. That is fully the plan until the board tells me otherwise, but the board has told me to move. So we're going to move. Okay. Leon, Clerk Wright, you have some announcements.
Yes, I do have a couple. First one is announcing that the township administrative offices will be closed on Thursday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. Go veterans. Can I get
Thank you, veterans.
Yes,
Can I get a
thank you.
whoop, whoop, whoop veteran? Okay. Also, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Bob and Marie Cross for once again placing and maintaining flags on all our veterans' graves on all 4 of our cemeteries. Bob and Marie has been doing this for well over 20 years now, so let's give them a thank you also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's amazing.
Concludes my announcements.
Okay. Does anybody else on the board wish to make an announcement? No? Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Kevin. Real quick, I'm gonna start this off today. I'm gonna probably announce it going forward until we finish. The township clerk's office is working with redistricting to redistrict all the Van Buren Township precincts. We do not have well, as you know, we did not have election this year, but we've been working with the state to redo all our precincts. No precinct can have over 3,000 voters in any precinct, so we had to restructure that. And we was waiting on the state to finish their redistricting, so we've been working diligently with the state. So we are now folding maps and sending out new cards to every registered voter in Van Buren Township. You should be receiving something soon. Some of you will not be voting at the same precinct. Some will be. Some will be closer. Most will be closer. But they may not be the same precinct. We also are going to be changing the precinct because Van Buren Public Schools are working to close Haggerty. So Haggerty will no longer be a precinct. Currently it's precinct 8. We're going to change that precinct to Edgemont Elementary. Again, it will be changed to Edgemont Elementary. You will receive notification well in advance. We're getting ready to send those notifications out right now. So by the beginning of the year, you should see something in the mail. I will announce this again and again and again, but this is my first time.
So it's now at Edgemont. Haggerty is being replaced by Edgemont.
Edgemont.
Okay.
Okay.
That concludes my announcement.
Okay. Does anybody else have any last board comments? No, then we're into the public comment section of our meeting. Does anybody wish to speak publicly on anything that we have before us today? Moderator? Public comment.
Supervisor, at this time, I'm not seeing any virtual hands raised or anything in the chat, but if anybody from the public would like to make a comment on anything on the agenda, they can use their raising hand function or there's a chat feature.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Not seeing anything at this time, Supervisor.
Thank you very much. We're moving on to unfinished business. Okay, so the motion that I'm looking for is a motion to discuss whether or not we're going to go back into out of Zoom. Can I get a motion?
Supervisor, I make a motion to discuss on returning to in-person meetings.
Support.
I heard Clerk Wright, which I don't usually hear make motions, so get that in there. Okay, all right, so we're supposed to revisit this. I know it's got me as a presenter on this thing, but I have a dual problem. My first problem is, quite frankly, there is a spike going on in the community. We all know there is a spike going on in the community. I send out the numbers to everybody, the 150 members of Van Buren Township every day. I miss 3 or 4 days a month, but there are not, during the height, we were getting 10, 12, 15, 20. We're still getting 15 to 20 every single day. We just had to cancel a senior citizen luncheon that we for our volunteers that we really wanted to have but we had a sudden implosion of COVID that not only was going through our own building a little bit, but it was also going through through the senior citizens. It's luckily almost all the people were vaccinated, and all it was to them was a little bit of a flu. So in that sense,
We
it's hard.
dodged a bullet.
Yeah, in that sense, I guess if I'm going to get it all out there, we're all vaccinated. I don't see why we can't meet. I don't see why we can't keep the social distancing. The other side of it is, though, we can't shut anybody out from that building. It is against the law, and if we open it up, we're opening it up to everybody. I would vote to come back into open meeting only because I've had to tell the employees to come back, and I don't know how we cannot not do that. But I understand 100% if somebody thinks otherwise. So that's my 2 cents. Trustee Miller.
If I may express my opinion here, I'm all for coming back. We need to be there for our residents, our people. And so to get back to work is what we're all wanting to. And back to work means not that we're not working, we are working very hard, but those in-person meetings are important. But I have to look at this as a whole. Since there's only a few more meetings until the end of the year, I say we continue on Zoom until the end of the year and then come back after the first of the year with full board meetings in person. I'd like to err on the side of caution here a little bit, but there's only a few more meetings, so I think I'd like to be safe rather than sorry. I don't want to dodge another bullet, and I say, let's come back after Christmas. How does everyone feel about that?
Note that Trustee Boynton's here.
Hello.
Hi,
Supervisor,
and I'm good after Christmas.
I would agree with Trustee Miller. Not only, but I agree with everything she said. We only have a couple more meetings left through the year, and the county has mandated to the end of the year. And the beginning of the year, we'll be further into the winter season. We'll see how everything is progressing through through the first half of the winter. Also, we are having a different type of pandemic. We're having an employee pandemic. So employee leaving pandemic. So we really don't have, we need to regroup also with our communication department and to have somebody successfully do the work that we need to do for in-person board meeting. I think that will give us a little time to regroup and wait until the beginning of the year. And also, as Trustee Miller said, give a kind of see how this it's going to work out with this pandemic. So I would vote to come back the first of the year also.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Trustee Martin.
I agree with both Clerk Wright and Trustee Miller. I think we can wait until after January to see how everything pans out.
Okay. All right. I don't think we need a motion because we're already still out till December 31st anyway, right? So we just let it just stays where it's at, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by making a motion that's just going to hang. So, yeah. So,
But is it a board consent? Is the entire board, are we all in agreement here? If we're not going to do a vote, I'd like to have nods, other opinions. Look up, everyone.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, okay, all right.
I have to hold the line with the employees, and the employees have to come into work. Therefore, I have to hold myself to that same standard and say and go against what you guys are saying. But I'm not going to fight over it because it makes perfect sense what you guys are saying too. So,
All right.
I'm not going to go to war over this. All right. Okay, so we don't need a vote or anything on this. We basically say we had our discussion and it's staying the way it was. Right?
Yes, we go back after the holidays.
All right, then we're moving on to new business. All right, the first item is new business, and traditionally, the treasurer makes this one. So Treasurer Bud, could you please read the first motion for approval?
On mute, Terry. You're on mute.
Okay. Yes, discussion on and to consider approval of resolution 2021-22, the 21 amended and 2022 general fund budget, and the 2022 salary schedule.
Can I get a second? Anybody?
I make a
Or-
second.
Okay, Ms. Miller or Trustee Miller? Okay, so this one, I guess, is on me also. This is our third week with this budget. It is not a balanced budget because of the fact that we are building a community center and we're actively moving forward with about close to 50 projects almost. But it does represent spending on about $4 million in surplus budgets that we have had over the last few years. We are anticipating another surplus budget this year. A lot of positions didn't go, a lot of people left. We held line on a lot of our other line items. We couldn't complete a lot of our CIP projects, which we'll discuss later on. Long story short is financially, we're really in good shape. We've talked about this for 3 weeks now. I don't know what else I can say about this budget. Okay, so does anybody want to discuss it? Or just move it?
Through the treasurer or through the supervisor, the only thing I will say, it is a balanced budget because we are taking funds from the general fund balance because the budget has got to be balanced. So yes, sir, this balanced budget is balanced.
I'm sorry, it is.
It
There's
is.
a lot of peace.
Yeah, it's just whenever we take money from the fund balance, I consider that not quite balanced. But Clerk Wright,
I would echo what the treasurer just said. It is a balanced budget, has to be balanced. And it also puts us in a good position. The township, we are in a pretty good financial position with the balanced budget. As the supervisor said, we had another surplus from the previous year. But based on things that didn't get done and good old COVID. But
Yeah.
we are in a good position. So anyone that's wondering what kind of state the township in, rest assured, we're in one of the best positions that I've seen us in 13 years, my 13 years here. So good. Good work.
we're looking like a really good year again this year. I mean, some was because unfortunately a lot of people weren't working.
Through the supervisor, I would also like to thank all the department directors for the work they done on the budget, and especially Dan Selman for all the work that he done. I know there was some crazy nights for him because of what we've done, but it was definitely an effort. I think it'll be a good budget. I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to this community center and the rec center and just how this is all going to pan out.
I have to thank Dan Selman too, because I was here half the time when I was walking out the door, he was walking in the door for a second shift. Every time we change the budget, you don't realize it, but there's almost 2 days worth of changes that have to be made on the document because it changes all the balances. It affects all the other, affects revenue, it affects other budgets and departments. And you guys know how many times we changed that budget this time. I mean,
We're troublemakers.
So God bless them. All right. Hearing no further discussion. Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Boyne,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier.
Yes,
That's a yes for me.
yes.
Supervisor?
Oh,
Supervisor,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, Clerk. We're moving on to discussion item number 2. I guess I hate to ask, who would like to make this motion?
I can make the motion.
Supervisor.
Trustee Martin, you don't make many. Okay. Could you?
I make a motion to discuss and consider approval of resolution 2021-23, the 2021 amended and 2022 water and sewer fund budget.
Support.
Okay, Miller. Okay, so, and I guess this is on me again. As everybody out there knows, we spent $800,000 doing an incredible audit on our entire system. Part of that audit, we hired an amazing woman who's probably the #1 budget setter and financial analyst for water and sewer in the state, if not the country. And she basically came up with a way to make us sustainable for life. Now, based upon this, so we ended up with a strange anomaly in that we couldn't do some of our capital improvement projects due to COVID, and it wasn't our fault. It was because we couldn't get our permits from Wayne County, and I won't even blame Wayne County because Wayne County had the same issue we're having. Everybody is leaving. So the permits didn't happen, the work didn't get done. So we actually ended up with a little bit extra money this year. And because we're not supposed to make money in water and sewer, and we won't make money in water and sewer, we are fixing that by making by charging the residents 0% increases for next year, which 20 years, I don't remember anybody ever having a 0% increase. Have we ever had one, Treasurer Bud?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we did. When we were still getting over the 6 mil, excuse me, and working through that, we did have years where we didn't have an increase, but it's been a while.
And we are still the lowest or second lowest in Southeast Michigan. So, yeah, so we have the lowest rates and we're not raising our rates. So, yeah. Good news. Anybody?
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, the new guy's coming on in next week, and he quietly called our old sewer guy, the new sewer guy did, and said, "Okay, tell me the secret. What's really messed up there?" And the new guy said, "Nothing. It's perfect, Terry. The workers are working. Everybody knows their job. Things are getting done. The system is solid. It's well funded." Oh, all right. At any rate, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Trustee Boyden,
Yes.
Treasurer Bud,
Yes.
yes for Clerk Wright, Supervisor McNamara,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Trustee Boynton, do you have your packet in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to make the motion for line item number 3?
Okay, I gotta go all the way back up to the beginning. Hold on. Okay, line item number 3, which is,
You're going to make a motion for approval of
special revenue fund budgets, in parentheses, Downtown Development Authority, Local Development Finance Authority Fund, Landfill Fund, Belleville Area Museum, E911 Service Fund, Federal Forfeiture Fund, State Forfeiture Fund, Long-Term Debt Fund, Capital Improvement Fund, close parentheses. That is a motion to consider and approve of those resolution 2021-24 of 2021 amended and 2022 special revenue fund budgets.
Well, I was going to say, Mr. Wright, Clerk Wright. Okay. All right. So, okay, all these funds are enterprise funds. They basically live on their own. They, if they make money, they hold money on their own. At this point in time, the Downtown Development Fund Authority, you've seen that fund. It is in strong financial shape. It has just opened, promised $1.1 million to the new community center for Black Box. As we all know, the Local Development Finance Authority, otherwise known as the Grace Lake Bond, is a perennial hit to us. But 5 years ago, we started a process where we put a certain amount of money away to handle that. We are in lawsuits over that. They are short funded and they are borrowing money from the general fund to stay alive. The landfill fund is strongly funded. The landfill is doing very well. Thank God. The Belleville Area Museum is currently is strong, and it's got in its budget built in for the well, actually not built in, but there's some landscaping going on and a new lean-to. The 9/11 fund is a fund that we are trying to get grants for, but right now it is in good shape. And the federal and forfeitures for the state and the feds, they've got positive balances. They're very small. We don't get as much forfeitures as we used to do. That used to be a big one. The long-term debt fund is very well established. And the capital improvement fund is just picking up small amounts of money here and there. So, but it has no obligations right now against it. So that's my quick overview of what we've already talked about for 3 weeks. Does anybody have any comments? Hearing none, Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll?
Yes, trustee Boyden,
Yes.
I think I supported that motion, so
Yeah.
yes, for Clerk Wright. Trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Frazier,
Yes,
treasury Bud. Yes. Treasury Bud,
Treasurer Bud, you're on mute.
Yes.
Supervisor McNamara,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you very much. Next item is discussion on the General Dynamic Corporation, otherwise known as Kenworth. Before you make the motion, Treasurer Bud, do you have anything?
Yes, I would like to be recused from this because I have a financial interest because the farm rents that property.
Okay. So can I get a motion on this item?
Number 4, Supervisor, I make the motion to for discussion on and
No,
to
no.
consider.
No,
No,
we have to
no.
vote on, we have to vote on.
You got-
Oh, if she could be recused. Oh, yes,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yes,
Learn something new every day. All right. So
I
do we
make
have
that
to make
motion.
a motion to recuse her?
Yes.
Supported.
I move that we recuse Treasurer Bud from the
The vote.
next thing we're getting ready.
item number 4.
Item number 4.
Okay.
I supported it.
Okay, Mr. Wright. Okay, is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, Clerk Wright, would you call the roll?
Yes, trustee Boyden,
Yes.
yes for me, trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Martin.
Yes.
Treasurer, do you vote? You don't vote, right? No.
Yeah.
You vote, trustee, yeah.
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
yes,
treasurer Bud,
Yes.
supervisor,
Yes.
you excused.
Thank you. Trustee.
Okay. I
Would you-
am going to stop my video and I will turn off the volume so I cannot hear it. And if nothing else, somebody call me when we get back on.
Okay.
we're gonna talk about you.
Okay.
Okay, I call you.
All right, can I continue with the motion?
Trustee Miller, would you make the motion, please?
Yes, I make a motion for discussion on and to consider approval of the special land use request and related site improvements by General Development Company, LLC, on behalf of the owner, Belleville North Marsh Ventures, LLC, to construct a 59,820 square foot facility for Kentworth Trucks.
Can I get a second? Who said that? Clerk Wright?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Director Power, could you take this over?
Yes, thank you Supervisor. Thank you, Board,
Can you share
for
screen?
having me here.
So, oh, never mind. I was hoping you're going to be able to share screen on this, right?
Yes, I will. Yep, thank you. I'll bring that up right now. I have a simple couple of pages that I've tried to boil down the information regarding this request to. So, and it is bath time in my remote meeting location tonight. So excuse if there's any background noise out there, but I should carry it. So just let me share my screen briefly, and I'll show you what this project is all about. First of all, I would like to just quickly orient the board to the location of the proposed request, which is a 2-acre parcel here on the North Service Drive between, you have National RV to the west and you have Camping World to the east. There's a roughly 20-acre site that is being proposed to be split from these two parcels. There's a small parcel and a much larger parcel in this location where my cursor is. With that being said, let me go ahead and move to the PDF graphic that I have for tonight's meeting. This kind of summarizes the entirety of the case. So as I mentioned on that last image, the proposed request is to occur here, roughly speaking, between I-94 and Tyler Road and between Belleville Road and Morton Taylor Road to the east of the township's non-traditional downtown district. The site is zoned C2 Extensive Highway Business District. And the proposed use is for a Kenworth dealership for new and used truck sales and truck part sales with accessory truck repair. Now, the image that I'm showing to the left on this screen is a kind of a level view of the site plan, just with the building kind of outlined, as well as what you see there in kind of yellow orange is where you'd see proposed truck tractors for sale, new inventory being in the front yard there and around the perimeter of the site. So everything you see in that kind of yellow orange color would be where they'd be proposing to display Kenworth tractors for sale. Now, the use also includes a 59,850 square foot building. It contains service, warehousing for parts storage, showroom, an office, and receiving uses, which is comparable to the mix of components you'd see in a building for a typical car dealership. To break that down a little bit more, roughly 25 to 26,000 square feet of that footprint is for truck service uses, which I'll talk about more. 18 to 19,000 square feet of that footprint is for the repair of trucks. About 11,300 square feet is for showroom and affiliated office space, plus about 2,870 additional square feet of office space on a second floor, as well as about 3,300 square feet for shipping and receiving. I do want to mention a little bit more about the exterior of the site before we get back into breaking down those different uses in the building and outside. On the exterior of the site, what you have is parking spaces that include a combined total of 158 spaces where you will see truck tractors for display for sale. And that's, again, the areas highlighted in yellow orange on this screen. Additionally, there are 116 proposed marked parking spaces for employees and patrons of the site. There are 16 spaces near the north end of the site, which are proposed for combined tractor and trailer spots. The idea there is that if there's ever an event where you have a truck and truck trailer combination that needs service, they would be able to drive in onto the site. But that's a small number of the total within the broader total of the number of parking spaces on site. Most of the parking spaces on site are either for passenger vehicles or for truck tractors. One more point about the truck tractor spaces. I mentioned there are 158 of those that are designated for sale of truck tractors. There are also 75 spaces that are marked as the confines in which you'd have tractors parked for service. So an important part of the review of this project was establishing that this is primarily a truck sales use, not a use that's primarily intended for just service and repair of trucks. So that being said, there were some comments and conditions placed on where the trucks parked for service could be located. And that's those dashed lines in the plans in your packet and on the screen here, roughly in this location and this location. I think that covers the parking areas. So I'd like to go back to talk about the mix of uses that I'm describing here. A significant amount of the building footprint is for truck service operations. I should mention that according to the applicant, there's a mix of uses in terms of revenue splits that involve 67% of their revenues at a comparison site in Dearborn are for truck sales, another 24.3 for part sales, and only about 4.5% of their revenue split is for service labor, with 4.4% for used truck sales. The building is used again for primarily service and sales operations. The sales are to occur during normal regular business hours with service that is proposed to occur in 2 different shifts. So the idea is that you would have the sales floor open to patrons during what you'd expect to be typical business hours, which I'll describe momentarily, as well as the second shift available for some additional work on trucks when the need arises after hours, when the doors are closed to patrons. I want to also briefly talk about the service activities that would occur here. They're described on a use description on the site plan as being relating to diagnostics, steering, suspension, and brakes repairs, preventative maintenance, and infrequent repairs to larger components on trucks. There will be no body shop on the site. The applicant estimates that there will be 45 to 50 employees at the initial startup of the business, potentially to grow over time. There is a landscaping plan that has been reviewed for compliance with the township's zoning ordinance. As of right now, the landscaping plan includes 208 proposed screening trees around the site. The architecture of the building, which I'll show on the following page, is you can it's a little bit grainy, but you can see the front of the building being composed of glass, aluminum composite metal or ACM panels, metal siding, and split face block with you do see some overhead doors back there where the bays are for truck service, and there are 19 total bays. I do want to mention one other thing about the details of the site plan before I go into some of the conditions of this review. This site falls in a position where you can see its broader location and context of the township between Belleville Road and Morton Taylor Road. It is in the township's downtown development authority district, and it is also in a sort of a pivotal location in terms of future road planning. That is all to say that under the 2020 Township Master Plan, we have planned for some form of north-south connectivity between the service drive and Tyler Road, as well as some form of east-west connectivity between Belleville Road and Morton Taylor Road over the next 20 years. Now, this site is in a good position to take advantage of that connectivity. And it is also the responsibility of this site as it develops to at least acknowledge that that's a key area for that connectivity in the future. So this site is designed such that there can be a north-south connector road along the east lot line of the parcel. Related to that, you also have a water main design that would allow for water main to extend to the north with a water main loop that extends around the building on this site. And you also have some water main that will extend to the west along the southern lot line and go all the way with an easement to the west lot line. I also, now that we've gone over the basics of the site, excuse some of that background noise, thank you. I do want to talk about some of the special land use aspects of this proposal. This is a outdoor vehicle sales land use with other accessory uses, including repair. As a special land use, there are specific standards for the sale of vehicles that apply to the site, as well as general standards for special land use that were reviewed by the Planning Commission. Under section 5.133 of the township zoning ordinance, special land use requirements include that there's limits regarding inoperable vehicles on the outdoor sales lot. There can be no inoperable vehicles stored outside. Verification that no large vehicles will be displayed in the front yard unless the vehicle is new. And these are some conditions related to the specific special land use standards. There are also conditions related to the overall coherence between this site, or cohesion between this site and the surrounding land uses that were reviewed by the Planning Commission. As part of the verification of this special land use being primarily for automotive sales and not for service, as I mentioned, there are some restrictions on where tractors parked for service can be parked, and those are on the site plan in the dashed lines. There are also notes and supplemental information regarding the restrictions and limits on service uses. I want to talk briefly about some conditions related to access comments that were provided by the principal planner in the report that was provided for the Planning Commission's review. There were some necessary clarifications regarding access stub road to the north, as well as information regarding a crosswalk striping along the front of the property and a connection to the access drive to the east. These have been provided in the latest submittal and will continue to be verified as part of the final site plan submittal. There's also conditions from both the principal planner and the township engineer regarding future sidewalk. You'll note that there is sidewalk extending across the frontage. There's also a county drain that encumbers the west portion of the lot. And in that circumstance, the township continues to review and discuss the sidewalk requirements with the applicant and is considering other options for getting that sidewalk done, considering the design challenges. There are some comments regarding landscaping that deal with the expansion of some landscaping islands in the parking lot. At this point, it might be helpful to look back at the rendering again. The incorporation of some triangular landscaping projection in the eastern portion of the site, where that lot line where the trucks are being displayed along the east end has some landscape islands that protrude into it to kind of break up that expanse of parking. And Planning Commission also had reviewed the substitution of some shrubs along the front of the site with perennial plantings and ornamental grasses. There were some required approvals regarding the architecture of the building and some conditions related to the architecture and the monument sign that's proposed on the site. And then on the engineering comments, at this point in the project, we aren't fully into the details of engineering review. This is a point at which the township engineer looks at the project for overall feasibility. And they did find that the project was feasible from an engineering standpoint, but we're still going to need things like submittal of easements, soil boring information, listing of permits as far as details on the plans, some details regarding the water main, including the same issue where the main as now would have to cross a drainage ditch. That is something that's going to require some review and discretion from the township's directors in terms of the gap that is currently there on the frontage of the property where the water main would otherwise connect to the west property line. There's comments regarding hydrants and fire design, including that hydrants have to be placed within 250 feet of all parts of the building. There are requirements regarding permits, including permit submittals to Eagle, which is the former DEQ, and some information regarding the sanitary design, drainage, including Wayne County's drainage and stormwater approval calculations related to that, and some information on disturbance and grading limits and soil erosion on the plans. So those are all typical. It's kind of a long list, but it's typical things that we're still expecting to come forth in an engineering application later. I will say that there was additional information provided about the hours operation The overall operation was described with the planning commission, but some additional detail was provided regarding the hours following the planning commission's review. So I think it's important to just mention that the applicant has indicated that their use will involve sales and retail in the building from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on typical weekdays, and service that extends from 6 a.m. all the way to 11 p.m. on weekdays and 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. And again, the purpose for that is because there's additional needs for the truck clientele with the irregular hours. As staff, we think it's important to acknowledge those types of unique circumstances of a use like this. And I do recommend that those limits are adhered to as part of the approval by the board in terms of the service aspect of the use being limited to service going to 11 p.m. And the details of those hours have to be discussed again with the final site plan review with the planning commission. With respect to sales, there are no additional comments on the sales hours of 8 to 5. But we just wanted to clarify that there are some extended hours for service, a second shift for service, and we just like to ask the board to verify that condition, that service hours go till 11 p.m. And we'll again review that with the planning commission. I, at this point, would invite you to ask myself or the applicant any questions you have about the project. I know that Jeff Minter, representing CSM Companies and Kenworth Trucks, as well as Bruce Brickman are on the call. With Bruce Brickman is with General Development Company. They're the applicant and designer for the project. And we also have our consultants here. And I believe our Planning Commission Acting Chair, Brian Kelly, was able to join as an attendee for the meeting. So there's a all hands on deck availability here for any questions that you have about this project. And I'd like to turn this back over to you, board. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions? I could have a few, but I'll wait, see what my board has first.
Yes, I have a question.
Thank you, go ahead.
So do I.
Will this eliminate Bud's Produce Farm?
No, currently Bud's Produce farms this among other areas. There are Mr. Power, there are 200 acres here and 50 acres of this will reduce Bud's corn production. They'll have to find some more acres probably.
Trustee Miller. So yes, this is a parcel that is partially farmed by Bud's Farm, but it's not the main operation.
Yeah, I mean, only the Buds can speak to what's going to hurt them or not. I can tell you that this 50 acres of this 200 acres is farmed by Buds, and they won't have it anymore. There you go. All right. Any other questions? Trustee Boynton.
Question I have is a concern for the accessory truck repair. How will that play out again? I mean, what are they looking to do? You know, how's the building going to be designed? How many bays for repair are they planning? You know, what type of work is going to be done? I know you mentioned steering and some brake work. However, you know, brake work is brake work, but you know, steering can go from just replacing a tie rod or two to putting on an entire steering system, which is pretty involved. So what level of repair are they talking about doing?
This is Jeff from CSM Michigan Kenworth. So typically, you know, we're just like a car dealership. So we do have to be able to work on anything on the truck, right? So we do full scale repair depending on what's needed on any given repair instance. But much like a lot of the car dealerships, a lot of our work now coming in is check engine lights and related repairs to service engine soon, things that take the trucks down. But we do also service the mechanical side of the truck.
So you're going to be doing full scale repairs, not just like changing the fluids on a regular
No,
basis.
Craig, this is just like any other car dealership. It's just big trucks. So we have to have a full service department to support the customers that buy the trucks from us.
How big is the department?
So scale wise, compared to the building size, it's large because the vehicles are large. So much like the service department in the car world is relatively large compared to the showroom because most of the inventory is kept outside. So footprint wise, it's very large. But when you look at the revenue split, it's a very small percentage of our overall revenue that comes through the building.
How many bays are you talking about?
As it's drawn
I understand what you're saying as far as you're dealing with big vehicles. I get that. I get that. But how many, you know, a car dealership has 9 bays, 10 bays, or something
Atchison
like
has
that.
30 bays.
Huh?
Atchison has 30 bays.
Okay, Atchison has 30 bays.
Mhm.
As ours is drawn right now, we have 19 overhead doors, so we'll have 19 access points. Then, depending on if it's a straight truck or a tractor without a box on it, you can get different amounts of vehicles in depending on the size of the vehicle that you're currently working on, since they're in different lengths, obviously, from a very small day cab truck to a extended box truck. So it's harder to put a hard number on the bays, but we have 19 overhead doors as it's drawn right now.
I have a question.
What's that, Trustee Boynton? Do you have any more questions on this?
I do, and I'll probably form them as I'm thinking. But I'm a little concerned about, you know, having 19 doors. 19 doors. I don't want to have 150 bays because the vehicles are big and they're doing full scale operations, and we have a limit to how many vehicles are actually supposed to be new compared to not new, if you follow what I'm saying.
Okay.
Dan, can you put up the elevation or the rendering that will
Clerk,
speak,
right,
it'll speak 1,000 words?
Through the chair, I think, were you going to ask Clerk Wright something?
Yeah, I have a
I was
question.
actually-
before you
no,
go.
I was actually going to tell Clerk Wright he's next as soon as you guys can answer this question. Could you put up that rendering?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can put up the rendering. I will also mention, because the bays affect the parking count, we have requested that a detailed floor plan is provided that verifies the number of bays for the final site plan review. And there's also a relationship between bays and required off-street parking. So if there's a significant difference from the 19 bays, it would be something that would have to go back for planning commission review. But that said, I'll leave this screen up here.
If you take a look at the screen here along I-94, you can see the showroom in the front, all the elevation with the curtain walls. So what you're looking at from I-94 is the dealership showroom. We tucked the service garage, which is the long part of the T there, we'll call it. You can see the overhead doors in this view here that lead into the service garage. Really, the only difference here between a dealership is a dealership, you would pull into an area where they might store 10 or 11 cars and then they pull them into the garage. Here, because of the size of the trucks, you pull them into each overhead door on each side, as you can see, and it's been tucked behind the building.
And just while we have this up here, I want everybody to take note that in the front, and this is going to be enforced, they're only allowed to put new trucks in the front. And then up and down that road that you're looking at, that in the center going down, all those new trucks, those are all only to be new trucks, correct, Mr. Power?
The front yard of the site is required to be new trucks only.
What about that long line down there? That right there. I thought that was new trucks only too.
So the technical front yard of the site is what you see on the service drive. Our understanding is this will be predominantly new trucks as well.
Sir,
It
could
definitely,
you,
it wouldn't be service operations, but it could be late model used on the side there as well as new, but the service operations vehicles will all be on the back side, the north side and the west side of the building, not to the east side there or to the frontage road. And then the frontage would be the area that Dan had called out earlier as being all new truck only. At least that was my understanding. Dan, correct me if I misrecalled.
The zoning ordinance requires that anything in a required yard is new trucks. And so technically that would be the areas in this location in front of the building on the service drive. Now, as part of the review, it was made clear that everything lining the perimeter would be new trucks as well. And so everything you see on the perimeter of the site is new trucks. And perhaps the applicant could go further into their some other operations. I did see in the notes the sales splits of another location where there was about 4.4% used truck sales in relation to about 67% new truck sales. So maybe the applicant could expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, just like any car dealership, we deal in trades as well. So we do have late model used trucks available. Anything that's not to our standards gets wholesale just like a car dealership would. So it's not like it's a independent used car dealership that sells the budget line, if you will. But we do have to absorb trades as part of new vehicle sales. So we have to have the ability to resell some of those as well.
I am not a fan of trucks. I never have been, but I am a fan of new trucks. I think they're cool as hell. And I have gone to 2 of their dealerships. The buildings are nice. The areas are clean. The trucks in front are nice and cool. They're big. As a freeway business, I think that this would be a good addition to us, personally. I just, I love a dining establishment, but this is a freeway business. And it's a new truck dealership. New truck dealerships, people have problems and they're usually so nice. I'm not sure if this one's gonna be that nice, but it's gonna be pretty nice.
Well, I'm a fan of trucks also. But I'm also concerned with, the other things that trucks also bring. Trucks are, 4 or 5 times heavier than cars. It's at least 4 times heavier than the vehicle I drive, and I drive one of the heaviest vehicles on the road right now at 5,000 pounds, and a cab of a truck goes easily 15, 17,000 pounds. Not talking about the trailer that it's pulling, and the trailer itself has some weight to it. I'm concerned about the streets that it's going to be traveling on. It's going to be traveling on that service drive, and everyone knows that along the way, that service drive has humps in it that will shake you up pretty doggone good. And that's just being driven back and forth by regular vehicles. I have a concern about the weight, and I know you can't do everything about the weight, but we have to be concerned about that. We have the connectivity that are going to be that Dan spoke of also. These trucks, I'm pretty sure, are going to be using those roads. Those roads, if they're put in by the county or put in by the state, I'm pretty sure they're not going to take into account that the majority of the traffic that's going to be on these roads is going to be truck traffic. They're going to set them up as regular passenger vehicles, and we'll be concerned about the condition of the roads that they'll eventually wind up going toward. Now, that's going to be a few years down the road, but still, with this project coming in, it is a very favorable project. Yes, that is very, very true. And I'm for the project, but I want to make sure that we don't overlook the amount of repair that's going to be done on it. And I'm using repair as a very broad term. I'm thinking that I would like to look into this a little bit further. And I will apologize, I did not read the packet completely, but just hearing what I'm hearing and seeing as that I have spent the majority of my public life so far as a member of the Planning Commission, and I am one of two master planners currently in the township right now. I have a very, very deep concern. I have a very deep concern, and I would like to.
All right, hold on. Okay, yeah, we've gone over the 3 minutes. I have Clerk Wright, but I have Vidya wanting to speak, and I also have Brian Kelly that's in the background, who, since we didn't have our board liaison, Treasurer Bud, Brian Kelly has said he would do that. So Clerk Wright, is it on this point, or do you want to wait till after they go? Because I don't know that you want to wait that long.
No, I had a question while I was thinking about it. I almost forgot it, but the question to who was Mr. Mentor. So you spoke that there's going to be new truck sales along with, is it light repair or just repair? Sounds like it's just repair. But my question is that a dealership normally service their customers. Is this going to be just people that buy trucks from you, or is it going to be people off of 94 also? Will it be
So
trucks?
the majority of our business typically does come from the customers that purchase from us, but we do also have to take in units that break down on the highway to get them back on the road. Generally speaking, those are for shorter term repairs and things that they obviously want to get their truck and their drivers and their loads back underway to deliver their goods. But we do catch those trucks off of the highway, if you will, that break down and can't continue on their delivery.
Okay. Second question, I guess, to Dan, is this, I'm assuming on the way this can go in, it requires a special land usage vote from the board in regards to whether we could allow that or not. Am I correct?
That's correct. You have a recommendation from the Planning Commission from their meeting on October 13th, and the board is the body that actually adopts the special land use approval.
And what's the recommendation from the Planning Commission?
The Planning Commission did recommend conditional approval of the special land use.
So that's a yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Vidya, we're going to go Vidya, then I'm going to go Brian Kelly.
Thank you, Supervisor, members of the board. I wanted to provide some planning considerations and clarifications. So some of the board's questions may be answered by what I'm going to say. Firstly, the site is zoned C2 Highway Business District. It is a district which is one of the only type of districts where this kind of use can fit. The reason this use is proposed where it is it abuts similar uses. If you look at Camping World, it's just east of the site, and you have National RV immediately to the west. The intent was that uses such as this that use trucks, RVs, and similar heavier uses would be placed along the service drive, since they cannot directly be placed along I-94 in the township. They would be placed along the service drive so that they have direct access to the freeway. This, if at all such a use were to be permitted in the township, this is the only district where we would put it, because this is the reasonable place for it to be located. Such a use would not be permitted in our industrial districts because we do not allow sales uses in our industrial districts. So the best district for which this use is intended is the C2 Highway Business District as proposed by the applicant. Second thing is, their primary use is sales of new trucks. Service is an essential component of their use, just like any car dealership. However, the applicant is very clear that this is not going to be a body shop for trucks. This is repairs or emergency repairs. Sometimes if carrying, as we know in the pandemic over the last years, the trucking services have been the vital trunk lines of the country to carry merchandise from one place to another. So providing the essential repairs in a timely fashion is something that Kenworth does. And we are not including any heavy truck. We are not talking about any body shop work over here. The third thing is all the trucks that are on display along the frontage, both on the I-94 service drive and the ones along the possible future east side roadway are all going to be new trucks. At the Planning Commission, the applicant was also told that the first row of trucks we anticipate will be the new trailers or cabs, and behind it would be, they can be used as long as the trucks that are being sold parked in that area that Director Power showed, they will all be fully functional working trucks. They're not going to be trucks for repair. The ones that are meant for repair are going to be in the back. And this is also a situation where any vehicles that come in for repair, they will be taken into the dock doors. We will not have a situation, I do not anticipate we'll have a situation where you will have like an oil change, like a quick oil change place where you have 10 cars just standing in line trying to get in there to do their oil change and come out. This is a place where when the repairs are done, the trucks will be parked in the designated spots for their repair. And when they're ready to be repaired, they will be taken inside the overhead doors into the bay, depending upon whether it's the smaller kind of trucks or it's the bigger trailer, cab, whatever terminology Mr. Minter used, whether it's bigger, it will be pulled into the bay. As designed, the Planning Commission, I think, ensured that any of this repair activity would not be visible from I-94 service drive. It's good. The building is designed in the shape of an inverted T. So you're going to have all the trucks and all the repairs in the back portion of the site, not really visible from the front. To that end, we also made sure when the applicant did their landscape plan, they really enhanced the landscaping along I-94 service drive and also the east side frontage. In fact, before bringing this applicant to the Planning Commission, I had a look at least 15 dealerships of Kenworth throughout the country, all the way up in Wisconsin and everywhere else to see, once done, this is probably going to be one of the best landscape, good-looking dealerships that we can have over here. So I do understand the board's concerns with regard to the special land use, but I want to assure you that when the Planning Commission recommended approval, it was with the understanding that this is primarily sales of new trucks, some used trucks also, and repair is only the smaller repair. It's not a truck body shop. I would be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, I was gonna go Brian Kelly and then Trustee Miller, but because this is, otherwise we'll be here all day. Unless you have one, no, let's go. Trustee Miller, do you have one question for Vidya?
Yes, I do. So has there been a traffic study on this I-94 service drive? I know how heavily that's traveled now. How is this going to impact our community with all the extra traffic? As you said, you have Camping World, you have other businesses on there, and it's quite, quite busy. So how is that being addressed?
The applicant is I-94 service drive, which is under the jurisdiction of MDOT, I believe. Please correct
Wayne
me.
County.
Wayne County. So at this time, the applicant's next step, what they have from the Planning Commission is preliminary site plan approval. So they will be working with Wayne County for engineering, and Wayne County will probably raise that question for them to provide the necessary clarification. I anticipate that will be the case.
Okay, because that's a huge concern. Thank you.
May I speak for 1 second on this subject, Dan?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so, and this would address Trustee Boynton's question also. Please remember, we're talking about the tractors, not the trailers. So when we're talking about weights and loads and traffic, this is not a truck stop. There aren't going to be 53-foot trailers coming in and out of here. 99% of every trip coming in and out of here would just be the front tractor, the Kenworth tractor, which its weight isn't anywhere near the weight of a 53-foot trailer attached to it. And the weight is way lower than the maximum loads on the service drive, which is a Class A Wayne County road. We have talked to Wayne County about this project and gone over both the stormwater requirements and the road requirements, and they're completely familiar with this. And the I-94 service drive is designed for trucks, not just trucks as in the tractors, but designed to also carry 53-foot trailers up and down that service drive. The amount of traffic generated here in regards to the total traffic on the road is minuscule. Again, this isn't a truck stop. Think of this as a car dealership, and the amount of patrons that might go in and out of a car dealership on a main road compared to the total volume of traffic on a main road. So it will be fairly insignificant in the big picture on a Class A road that's designed for weights that are way more than a tractor weight. Because again, we're not bringing 53-foot trailers fully loaded with 80,000 pounds of goods in the trailer. So I just wanted to make sure, because it sounded like not everyone quite was picturing that as to what is happening here.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, you're our liaison for the board today because Treasurer Bud could not be here. Could you speak for the board, the Planning Commission?
Yes, thank you for having me this evening. Good evening, everybody. We went through the review and analysis by the consultants and by staff. After our review, we made a recommendation for special land use approval. We felt that it met the conditions of the ordinance and state law and made a recommendation which included several conditions. On the same evening that we were there for that initial portion on the special land use approval, we also completed a preliminary site plan review, which as Christian went through with staff or with everybody, we looked at it also with Mr. Kammer from Fishback. So we've been going through this quite extensively on the initial analysis. Had an opportunity to discuss some of the concerns that have been raised this evening by a couple of the trustees, including overnight parking issues that we were concerned with, where placement of vehicles were going to be placed at. Also, we had some questions regarding hazmat placement. And that kind of gets a little farther than what I believe you have up on the agenda for this evening. But needless to say, we were going through this quite extensively. And if it comes back up for final approval, we'll have an opportunity to go after some other questions that we can make sure that it's a great fit for our community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Clark Wright?
Well, it's not a question. I just I guess just a comment. Since I was the motion maker, the reason I asked was it how exactly was it working, because I agree with the whatever my planning commission said. We have some very intelligent people on our planning commission. And that's one reason why you don't see me in the audience of the planning commission, because I want them to do their due diligence and do their job and bring their recommendation to me so that I can have a unbiased vote. And I trust the Director Powell and Vidya, Brian Kelly, and everyone else that sits on that board to bring the information to the Board of Trustees. And if they're recommending this, and I agree with Vidya, what other area can we put a structure of this magnitude but the service drive? That's what it's right off the freeway. So as long as it fits the qualification and the structure design, and if we have to do if it left up to us to okay it, then I'm okay with it. So that's my comment.
Through the chair, if I may, I just want to say that I'll never apologize for asking questions here. I'm doing my due diligence. And I absolutely put all my faith in the Planning Commission with all those commissioners. They do a wonderful job. But I wouldn't be doing my best work here if I didn't bring up my questions and concerns, and I'm 100% satisfied in going forward. So that I will never apologize for. If it takes up more time, so be it, but at least I'll have a clear understanding of where we're going with this. So thank you.
Absolutely, Trustee. I wasn't implicating that you should, because I'm asking questions.
Just want to be clear about that.
I'm asking questions. I'm not implicating that anyone shouldn't ask questions. I'm just verifying that because I asked I asked questions as well as you did, so I'm not, I mean, I don't think I said that, but, I'm saying, what I'm saying is that I'm okay with what I've heard.
I am
Myself,
too.
verifying, only, implicating
Okay.
myself, not anyone
We're
else.
gonna-
I
Yeah.
don't know where that came from, but I know, I don't, this has nothing to do with what you're saying.
Trustee Frazier.
I mean, I second your motion, remember?
Yes.
All right, so we're moving on to trustee Frazier.
I'd just like to say, Trucks Move America. I'm all for approval of the site improvement because trucks play a vital role in keeping our economy moving.
All right, is there anybody else that has any comments before I request the clerk to call roll?
Well, since you asked for comments,
I have, yep, go ahead.
I'm going to jump in there and jump on trustee Miller's coattails as well, and also clerk Wright's coattails and trustee Frazier's coattails, which is I will not apologize for asking questions. As far as the planning commission, I have full faith in our planning commission. Absolutely. Commissioner Kelly, make sure you convey my sentiments to the planning commission on that. And I would not be doing my job if I did not ask questions as a highly credentialed planning person that is sitting on the board currently. And I just want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row, plain and simple. I don't know how many bays we're going to have still, but I'm sure that the planning commission has gone through all of their means as far as threshing out the information. I'm good with that as well. I'm still going to ask my questions that I have though. And I'm going to shut up now.
Okay, hearing no further discussion. Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll? You have a motion by trustee Miller and it's supported by clerk Wright.
Yes. Trustee Miller,
Yes.
and as the support, it's a yes for me. Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Borden,
Yes.
the treasurer is excused. Supervisor McNamara,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you very much. New trucks up front, make it look good. We'll be the best neighbor you ever had, Mr. Kenworth.
We will do everything we can. We want to have it look as good as you do.
Yeah, we want to be a premier community and we want the best new truck sales place in the state in front of us.
That's our goal, and I know General Development wants to put the nicest looking building up for us too.
Okay, thank you
We
very much.
love trucks.
All right.
Through the chair,
Treasurer Bud.
I would just like to clear up, the property is not owned by the farm. So Bud's Farm does not own that piece of property. We have leased that piece of property since the early 1958, I think, when my father-in-law first started running that property when it belonged to Dick Sloan. We are going to be losing 10 acres. As to how much of the rest of it we will be able to rent, that will be being seen, but it's not our property. We still have property enough to run the stand. The property there was used for field corn and soybeans. It will hurt financially, but it's not something we knew we couldn't afford it. And it's like everything else. If you can't buy it, then you can't say too much about what happens. We just want to make sure it's a nice project for everybody involved.
The community wants their corn. What can I say?
Keep that corn coming.
I was off on the acreage, but Treasurer Bud was correct. Thank you. All right. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, we moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So who have I not called on to make a motion?
Through the chair,
Clerk Wright? Go ahead. Motion number 5.
I'd like to make the motion to consider approval of personal service agreement between the township and Lawrence Luckett for the Director of Public Services.
Support.
Mr. Martin? Okay, I have Director Sumter here, and is Mr. Lockett in attendance? I'm not sure. Yes, he is. Could you elevate him? Ms. Sumter, could you take it away?
Good evening, board. I am here tonight to ask for you to consider the approval of Lawrence Luckett. He has come to us from the city of Detroit with 26 years in the maintenance and facility business. He has been appointed by the mayor. He has come very highly recommended by Mayor Duggan, as well as his previous supervisors. And he has he has a bachelor's in public administration. He is a very educated person. I have the pleasure of sitting on the interview panel with him. And I'm very excited to hopefully announce with the approval from the board, our new Director of Public Services. And with that, I will take any questions you may have.
Okay. Mr. Luckett was one of two candidates that we had that we really liked a lot. Mr. Luckett's unbelievably experienced. He had 300 people underneath him. He was over a garage system that I think was $140 million. We talk about a garage, we're talking a $140 million garage. I mean, these things where he basically ran project management. He worked with the unions. I have references here from people that have told me that what a disaster the place was, and within a short period of time, he turned everything around. He's right. He mentioned the mayor's name a few times. They worked with the mayor, and I made a few texts and confirmed that he did. And the mayor says he'd be pretty good for us. So, I don't know what to say. I guess he's impeccably qualified. I think he's going to hit the ground running, and we got a lot of work for him.
Welcome.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to see a smile from Mr. Luckett. Come
got
on.
it.
Let's
got
see it, buddy.
Well, that last discussion was pretty interesting for me because I'm from the transportation side of the house as well. So
Okay. Well, you have a, we're glad that you thought of Van Buren Township to apply. So all I can say is welcome aboard.
I would also like to add, Lawrence Luckett is a resident of Van Buren Township as well.
How lucky are we?
I knew he was looking smart.
Well, yes.
Well, then you're off to a good start. You already love this community.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I do.
If approved, he'll be starting next week.
Wonderful. You couldn't
Let's
work.
start him tomorrow.
As I was saying, you couldn't work for a better bunch of people in the township. Our full-time elected officials are wonderful, and I hope you get to know the board as well on that level. So welcome again.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll? You have a motion by Clerk Wright and supported by Trustee Martin.
Okay, then, well, I'll start with myself by saying yes. Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
Yes.
Trustee Boyden,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Bud,
Yes.
Supervisor McNamara.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lawrence.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Let's
Thank
see
you.
a smile, a big one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, through the chair, let me say this. First of all, I want to thank you all for having me. And as the chair mentioned, I am a resident, been in Van Buren over 11 years now, and I absolutely love it. The service has been fantastic since I've been here. I mean, it's not one time that I call and I need service and it's Johnny on the spot. So you have my commitment that will continue. I'm here to ensure that the residents and the community of Van Buren stay prestige and moving forward and energetic and beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the new project on I-94 to see what that looks like. So again, thank you, and I will work hard for Van Buren.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you
Welcome.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you, Larry, and I can't wait to get you in here because I got work piling up already.
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right, reports, we have none. Public comment for non-agenda items. Moderator, is there anybody from the public that wishes to comment on non-agenda items?
There is nothing in the chat currently, and there are no hands raised, Supervisor.
Board comments. Is there anybody from the board that wishes to comment? Trustee
I
Miller?
do.
Very quickly, sorry, through the chair, just while we're still on the public's comment, I just wanted to acknowledge the treasurer and her comment about me during the announcements.
Oh,
And thank her and acknowledge the rest of the directors and all the different departments, and thank her for her role, the clerk's office role, and especially her deputies' role is invaluable to the budget. And also for Ryan, who's also spent a lot of time formatting the budget a couple different times, and wanted to thank him and acknowledge his service for the past 2 years, and want to wish him his best on his next opportunities. Was a great asset to us for the past 2 years, and his remarkable skills in video production and all the help that he gave us during the website and getting our presence out there on social media. Yeah, he's going to be greatly missed.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so Trustee Miller.
Yes, I wanted to express my disagreement on the Board of Trustees meeting schedule. We're eliminating our work studies, and I don't agree with that. I think that's an opportunity for the public to come and offer comment. Many times they can't always make it to the regular board meeting, and this is where we're able to ask all the questions that we need. So I'm disappointed that we're eliminating that, and I did not catch that on the consent agenda, and without a board discussion, I think that was unfair here. I disagree with it.
We can always add that if the board desires, okay?
I agree with Trustee Miller.
We can make it a discussion point. Not the problem. I don't care which way you go on this. It's just that they became rehearsals for our regular board meeting where we ended up just flying through the board meeting. They were really meant to be discussions and presentations and thinking about different things like that.
Well,
yeah,
it is supposed to be a rehearsal. That's what MTA told us about how important work studies were. It is a rehearsal for when we go on camera. So our questions can be answered. And yes, questions can be brought up again. But this is the time for public to come, give comment, us to give comment. And I think they're very important. And I think the board needs to look at adding those back to the schedule.
It's not a problem. I mean, you can add you're the board.
I have a comment.
Yes, Clerk Wright.
My first comment is that my question and comment regarding the planning commission had nothing, no soever comment regarding anyone asking questions. That's our duty, and is to ask questions. It only was my reference regarding what I think about our planning commission, why I don't attend planning commission, and how I view our planning commission. Had nothing to do with nobody answered. Nothing to stifle anyone from asking questions. I commend you asking many questions you want to. I've commended your board for, many times how you ask questions and work well together. Second piece, respectfully, Trustee Miller, I have to disagree with what you just said about work studies. Work studies are not meant to be a dress rehearsal. Work studies are meant to be exactly what it say. A work study on whatever the board decides need to be studied, as the supervisor said. So if we need to study this item or that item, we set work study to study those items. It shouldn't be, it's not meant to be a dress rehearsal for a resident to come in and ask questions. Resident can ask questions anytime. It
I
is.
think we're getting hung up on the name of dress rehearsal. It's to go over any issues that we have, any concerns, any
Right, any
comments.
concerns that we have, but it should be.
So let's not get
It should be
hung up
what
on
it-
that title.
But it should be what it said. I think we went, remember we had a meeting, we had a class with Lou Bender, and he went over what work study should be used for. I don't know, that's been a while back. I know I was in attendance, Trustee Frazier, you were the treasurer, and he went over that. I think Trustee Martin was in that one too.
Mhm.
It has been used inefficiently. Not saying that you can set one whenever you want to as a board, but it shouldn't be set as a bi-weekly meeting just to go over the items on the board packet. It should be set for things that we need to discuss and clarify and get more information on, not just in my tenure as clerk, it's been used, like the supervisor said, as a dress rehearsal. And it shouldn't be used like that.
Well, look at it this way, Clerk Wright. This gives the public the opportunity, and over the 13 years that you've been there, the almost 10 years that I've been there, many residents have come and were able to get questions answered and not taken up time on camera. These are very different times, and I realize that we have such a new, almost totally new personnel being hired. All the more reason to have these work studies, to ask those important questions on whatever we feel necessary. Then we come back, and we were supposed to wait 2 weeks. Remember that? And we kind of got away from that, and then vote on it. So you have some time in between to do your research, do your homework, and be able to come to the board with confidence and vote on whatever it was that evening. I think taking away the work studies is taking away the people's vote. I'm sorry, not vote, but their voice. So I think it's important to have those every time, just like we have been, and not eliminate them. I think it's wrong, and I'm not going to say anything more. I know the board disagrees with me here, but I wanted to speak out.
No, they didn't say they disagree.
I agree with you. I agree. I support what Trustee Miller said.
We can always fine tune it and make it better, but I don't think we should eliminate it. But we can discuss it at another point. I don't want to take any more time of the boards this evening.
Does anybody else have any public comment that they would like, public comment or non-agenda items? Hearing none.
I am giving this some thought, and
Okay.
I agree with the premise that Trustee Miller is bringing up. There needs to be some adjustment. I don't feel it's a dress rehearsal. I feel it is an opportunity for everyone to come in and to speak their piece. Not outside of the regular board meeting, but it is part of our meeting schedule that I feel should not be completely and totally eliminated. At every meeting, maybe not, but totally eliminated, no.
No, we're not eliminating it.
No, we'll never eliminate it.
It's still,
It's eliminated from the schedule, so yes.
Read the board meeting policy. If you read the board meeting policy, you'll see what we agreed upon. And it talks about work study. We're not eliminating it.
It has been eliminated. It's off the schedule. It's off the schedule. So you say you can add one or two or whatever.
As a regular scheduled meeting.
It should be a regularly scheduled meeting, just like anything else. If we need to not have one tonight, we can pull it off, but we're doing the complete flip here, the complete opposite here.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. All I said is read the board meeting policy, and then we can discuss it more. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to redesign it, in my history of sitting on the board, it's been a dress rehearsal. If we want to redesign
again, we can change that word. Okay, do away with the word dress rehearsal. Okay,
make it more functional. I'm
meeting,
okay with it. If you want to redesign and make it more functional, but just to go over every item on the board packet, I don't think that's what it's meant to be, and that's my
This
opinion.
obviously, we'll have to have a discussion about this, obviously.
It should not have been on the consent agenda. It
Whatever
should.
the board wants to do, we will do.
Okay, let's think about it for a couple of weeks and then we'll regroup and we'll
I
go
have
from there.
no problem either way. Okay, so
Do we need to now, was there a motion or
oh,
anything?
you can't do
I
that
wasn't-
here.
No, but you can add it to the agenda with two people and we can bring it back.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
So that's it. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to comment on? Hearing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I make a
So-
motion to adjourn.
Okay, support,
Support.
Mr. Boynton, was that? All right, hearing nobody in the negative, we are adjourned. Okay. Thanks, everybody.